and you are watching another Blewett Blitz film review. He has that ability to, trust me, he definitely does. Just his ability to catch balls outside of his frame, his leaping ability, his ability to hang in the air, his yak ability, it's all there. Lowers his helmet, low man wins, bang, rocks the guy.
Hall running free, Brees Hall inside the 10, he's gonna score!
The corners all do their job. You know, if you look at the picture right here, lock.
3rd and 1. Stevens always drilled. What a great defensive play.
I don't try to Monday morning quarterback any of the reviews I do, and I'll try to be honest with a lot of the things I put up. And you are watching / listening to another edition of Blewett Blitz, a live draft edition of Blewett Blitz, in which I'm trying to get my TV to work, and it does not feel like working right now. So we're going to watch the rest of the draft on the phone, unfortunately, but while we figure that out, appreciate you guys. I appreciate the support over the last couple of weeks. Made a ton of appearances on like Rivka's podcast and Cool Your Jets and Connor's podcast and Jake's podcast and Let's Talk Jets and all the people in the chat. And after the, podcasts are put up, the support has been amazing. So thank you to everybody. I'm going to get into the chat a little bit. We'll see who joins here. Obviously there's a lot going on. Jets Talk 24/7 has a big thing going on. I'm sure Let's Talk Jets does. I was just trying to get on with Assman or Jake Assman, but didn't happen. So I'll probably go on tomorrow. But whoever's in here, we'll talk. We'll talk a little bit. Eagle Fang, obviously the Jets selected Olu Fashanu at pick 11. I did say that after the top 9, or if the top 9 went like it did in terms of Odunze is gone, Neighbors is gone, Harrison Jr. is gone, Latham, OT2. I was hearing yesterday he was going to be OT1, which I would have like really dunked on everybody, but still Latham OT2. People were telling me OT4, OT5, OT6. You're crazy. He sucks. There's no way he goes top 10. Certain analysts has him 5. Certain analysts has him 6. Certain analysts doesn't have him to the second round. You'll see the Dolphins selection a little bit behind you guys, probably. See the Dolphins get. Chop Robinson, the end. All right. Yeah, so a lot of people telling me that that Latham wouldn't go as early as he did. He went early. Olu Fashanu, obviously, to the Jets at pick 11. The Jets trade down. They get a 4th and a 5th and give a 6th to the pick 203 to get the 4th and the 5th. So now the Jets are sitting with, 3 4th-round picks, and I believe maybe 2 5ths, or is it just 1 5th? I forget exactly, but prime capital for the Jets to trade up at this point. You're talking about a Jets team who still needs a receiver. I would have preferred to trade up from Rome Odunze. I would have preferred to draft or trade up for Malik Neighbors, but at the end of the day, they didn't. And with that being said, a guy like Odunze, I was really high on Neighbors. I was really high on Harrison Jr. Odunze was a little bit of a reach, and I admitted that he's a little bit of a reach if they did trade up for him. So with that being said, if they were to pivot, you get a left tackle, who, in my opinion, and I said this on Dom's podcast, you can go check it out, Project Prospect with Dom C. Last week, I said that Olu Fashanu was the best pass protector in the draft. I think he's better than Alt at this point in pass protection. I think he's better than Latham in pass protection. You're talking about a 21-year-old kid, I believe. Really high ceiling. Now he needs some work in the run game. He does drive off his toes. He does scoop from low. His hands can shoot wide. He lacks a little bit of nasty, but you're talking about his upside in pass protection. Again, in my mind, already the best pass protector in this draft. And a guy who's going to develop behind a guy like Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses. So it's a type of move that, again, raises the floor of the Jets. I would like that. Again, I would have liked to see them raise the ceiling. Now, if they are to pivot from a guy like Odunze, who is more in the realistic range of the Jets picks, if they pivot from Odunze to, a trade up in the second round for a receiver and a Tyler Boyd, then okay. Even if it's a trade up, even if it's a receiver in the second, mid-second, late second, okay, I could deal with that. Is Corey Davis still coming back? We don't necessarily know. Again, I would have preferred the receiver, but if they're to pivot and they get a Davis or a Boyd and a 3rd or 4th round receiver, I'm okay with it. I can tell you I do not want Lazard as my 4. And I especially don't want Lazard as my 4 with a questionable 3, if you know what I'm saying. Like if they were to grab, let's just say, a guy at 72, and that's the only thing they do to the receiver core, and it's, third round receiver, Lazard, Gibson, I don't think that's enough necessarily. But if they were to draft, again, a receiver and get a Tyler Boyd, some type of, Odell Beckham, whoever it may be in free agency, then I'd be okay with it. Again, Odell Beckham, I don't prefer him just because it's a little bit volatile. I'm not sure if he's the best fit for the Jets locker room, but yeah, it's a floor raising pick. Good prospect. Again, 21 years old. I was on him initially because people said, okay, he's the first or second best prospect in this draft. And I said, hold on a minute. Like, let's wait a little bit. Let's see who else is out there. And overall, Olu Fashanu was my tackle 3. You have Altu goes first. Pick 5. I was kind of hoping for personal brand reasons that it was Latham. Latham goes 2 picks later. And then Olu. Olu is OT3 and he goes as OT3. Now it was him versus Bowers, at 10. I was pretty convinced that the Jets were going to take Bowers. With that being said, I preferred Bowers or Odunze or Fashanu in a trade down, and they got Fashanu in the trade down. Now I'm happy that we don't have to deal with the Bowers boys and all that shit for the next however many years he's on the Raiders. We don't have to deal with that. But to get a tackle in a trade down, okay, again, how do you pivot? Do you trade up? I don't want the Jets at this point to have 3 4th round picks, 2 5ths, 2 or 3 6th, however it is. I think the Jets at this point need to add, quality over quantity on the roster. So how do they do that? How do they pivot after this pick? The top 9 went pretty much as bad as you can possibly go for the Jets in terms of the top 3 receivers, JC, Latham, and Alt all go. It's like, shit, what are we going to do? I was hoping that the Jets were going to trade up to 8 with the Falcons, but apparently it wasn't a option. Apparently the Falcons did not want to get past for Michael Penix. So it is what it is. Again, it's like a B- move to me. I'm lukewarm on it. Again, it raises the floor, but how do you pivot at receiver? That's the biggest ask right now. If they're to trade up, who's to say the Jets don't trade up the next couple of picks? Package next year's second and a 4th round pick or some stupid shit to grab a receiver. To grab Brian Thomas Jr., to grab Worthy. It's possible, but the Jets do need to grab a legitimate receiver 3 at this point. That's still my major concern on this team. Now, does this eliminate Bakhtiari? Does this eliminate Cam Fleming? I don't think so. I don't think that Max Mitchell or Carter Warren are some locks in the team, so I think they could still add a tackle. And at that point, if you have Olu Fashanu, pick 10, one of the best pass protector in the draft, and a Bakhtiari and a Donovan Smith, the Jets are super safe at the offensive tackle position. Last year, you have a situation where the Jets don't do shit at offensive tackle, and then they go balls deep into it this year with Tyron Smith, with Morgan Moses, with Olu Fashanu. Kind of the same thing in prior years with like defensive end. Defensive end, we didn't have any. Then we get JJ, then we get Will McDonald, then we get Huff, then we get Reddick. So the Jets are going heavy in the trenches, and that's where teams win, at the end of the day. Trenches, and at this point, obviously quarterback and obviously corner as well. And the Jets are stacked at all those positions. I would say receiver, is the next biggest of these positions after those, probably even maybe bigger than corner in today's NFL. So how do they pivot? Again, coming into last year where you had Garrett Wilson and Lazard pretty much as your 2, if you come into this year and it's Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Tyler Boyd, and receiver 3, then or a receiver in the 3rd round, or even a trade up into the 2nd round, okay, I'm okay with it. It's a pretty well-rounded group. If you were to add a Dunze, a Neighbors, a Harrison, I think it's one of the better groups in the NFL. But if you were to add a Boyd and a 3rd round receiver, it's a middle of the pack, if not even a little bit better receiver group. And you have that plus the offensive line that they have now, which is obviously great. Plus the defense that they have. It's a Super Bowl winning roster. Again, I would have liked to raise the ceiling a little bit more than they did, but how do they pivot? Because if you're telling me in a vacuum, Odunze versus Boyd and receiver in the 2nd round, McConkey, McConkey or whatever his name is, did they trade up for one of those guys? We'll see, obviously. And Olu Fashanu, by the way, I'm going to have his 2022 film hopefully in the next couple of minutes, and I'll start watching him tomorrow by tomorrow's stream. Eagles pick 22. Let's see who's in the chat. Well, Joe didn't want Olu at 10. Not preferred pick. We're drinking high noons tonight. Cheers to everybody out there. John Hassel said, I'm so underwhelmed and disappointed by this pick that I'm probably not staying awake for the show. I'll catch a replay in the morning. I wouldn't be so disappointed. Again, it raises the floor. Did I want something different? I did. But who's to say that teams wanted to trade down? Who's to say that they don't have Tyler Boyd on speed dial? Again, Tyler Boyd and receiver at 72. I don't think it's that drastic of a difference between them and Odunze. Transparently, I like Drake London better than Odunze. Transparently, I like Garrett Wilson better than Odunze. So I knew that even trading up for Odunze was probably a little bit of a stretch. But with that being said, I did want to force receiver. They didn't do it, but if you were to add to receiver 3 and 4, okay, it's a solid move still. And again, you got the third best tackle in the draft, and he was he was my third tackle, and he went as a third tackle. Again, I liked Latham. I think Latham's still a brand pick, right? People were telling me I'm crazy for Latham as high as he was. Pick 7. I told people he was OT1. He was OT2. Okay, brand win. We'll take it. Wow. Okay. Quinton Mitchell. He was one of the, if not the number 1 corner, the number 2 corner in the draft, went to the Eagles. Jacksonville up next. Little Jets trade up for Brian Thomas Jr. Why not? Why not? Let's go from Jan. What is up? Rob D says, can't be mad. No way. Teeting with Atlanta was possible if they wanted a quarterback trading. Yes, exactly. Go Jets said, when were we trading back into the first year receiver? I'm fucking down. Let's go Jets. Let's do it. Let's go Jets. I am 100% down. Brian Thomas Jr., whoever you want right here. I'm okay with mortgaging in the future a little bit to not even mortgage in the future, right? Like if you were to trade pick, 72, a 4th round pick and next year's whatever to get up to the first round, okay. It probably takes more than that again. A few high noons deep. I can't really do math and stuff like that. Blake C says, pretty pleased with the pick. Needed a tackle 3 and needed to tackle 1, 2, and 3 last year. He's also set up for success, learning from sitting behind one of the best ever do it. Yeah, learning from guys like learning from guys like Tyron Smith, and learning from guys like obviously a Morgan Moses is great. Like in terms of raising the floor, this is an awesome pick. You're talking about a 21-year-old kid who was already a stud in terms of pass protection. Now, does he need some stuff in the run game again? Do his hands scoop from low? Yes. Do his hands land wide? Yes. Do his feet get together? Do his feet get together as he's driving? Yes. So like he has holes in his game. But with that being said, you need to make sure your 41-year-old quarterback is protected, especially in the pass game. And you just got the best pass protecting offensive tackle in the draft. And he has some things to work on in pass protection. I've said that. But right now, he is the best pass protector in the draft. A long way to go in the run game. He's not even close in the run game in terms of his pass protection in the run game. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Yeah, did I want Odunze? Did I want Latham if he fell? Again, Latham for the brand pick. I'll take it. Still got my TV to work, and of course it always works. And now it's just decides to spin wheel me. So let's keep going through the chat. Fashanu Bowers, I'll stand by it. I literally posted pre-draft rankings. Fashanu's at 6. I think so. Whether I don't know exactly where Bowers was. Bowers was 1 spot higher than Fashanu. With that being said, those are the next 2 guys I was happy with in a trade down, and they got Fashanu. I am happy that we don't have to deal with all the Bowers shit the next couple of months. That's for sure. So Bowers was like the dreaded pick. Again, Fashanu's fine. Like it's a fine pick. I'm not disappointed. I'm not super thrilled. Olu. Yeah, so let's go to here. Let me go to my Twitter. Let's watch some Olu highlights here. Twitter. Yeah, let's go to my Twitter. We're good here. Let's see. Let's watch some Olu highlights. Here we go. As we talk a little bit through the draft. Let me expand this. So we got left tackle on every rep. Here is Olu Fashanu, little highlight tape I put together of him. I think you guys hopefully can see this on your screens, and I'm just going to keep talking as I go through this. Let's see. I like the pick. Trade back into the second with the extra 4th. Yeah, I think the Jets are going to trade up. Potential reach out to the Bengals for disgruntled T. Higgins. I don't know though. Like they're at like negative money right now, if not like literally $0. So do they have room for a $25 to $30 million receiver? Probably not. Realistically, right? I don't think it's gonna be T. Higgins. I don't think it's going to be a Brandon Ayuk. I think it's going to end up being a situation where it's again a Tyler Boyd, a receiver in the 3rd round, a trade up into the 2nd round. Do I think it's that big of a splash? I don't. Joe, what a day. I'm okay with Fashanu, but now the question is, do they trade up for a receiver and draft one? A trade up for a receiver or draft one? I think they probably trade up, right? Like, why not? At this point, get aggressive. Like, get aggressive for the guy you want. Brian Thomas Jr. still has not went. And there are some people saying, like, hey, maybe we should have taken him at 10. This is why I was saying, like, let's not take the guy at 10, a little bit of a risk. Completely agree with you, Joe. I would have liked a Dunze Bowers over Olu as well. I would have liked Bowers over Olu in a vacuum, just in terms of the player and the potential ceiling and the ceiling of the pick, right? You have Bowers, who could have came to the Jets and played 60, 65, 70% of the reps, where Olu was going to play 30, 35, 40% of the reps, maybe this year. So would I have preferred Bowers in a vacuum? Yeah, probably. But with that being said, Olu was a safer pick, and I'm also happy they don't have to deal with all those stupid Bowers bullshit online, So I think they're done today. Once they host, the press conference are usually done. Yeah, I would say they probably are done. Do I think they trade up at this point to the second round? I do. Did you hear your voice in the Jets? No, jealous beanbag. Can you please send that to me though? Because if that is true, that is awesome. Because I never saw that Jets draft hype video. Yeah, send me that if you could, or tell me where to find that, because that's awesome. Jets draft hype video this morning. Should I just go to Twitter and look that up? Maybe. Let me see that. Jets. Unless you're just fucking with me, which is completely possible right now, especially a couple of nooners deep. Somebody's bound to screw with me. Jets, New York, NY Jets. I think it's just that on their handle, right? We follow each other, me and the Jets. Okay, sweet. Okay, draft hype video for this morning. Dapped up, got our guy, got some Olu interviews. The family looked very happy. We like that. Draft hype video. NFL draft has begun. No. Gardner, you ready? That's a 6-second one. I'm surprised you're the first person to tell me this, if this has happened. Is it this one? I don't know if I'm playing two things right here, but I'm going to play it anyway. Here. We're going to pause this really quickly because I want to watch this draft video and see if that is true. Because if so, that is fun. That is a good time. Let's see. Let's watch a draft hype video.
Hey man, you ready to join the family?
These are big time moves.
John Abraham, Chad Pennington.
The New York Jets select
DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Nick Mangold,
Darrell Revis.
Just redid your entire offensive line in one offseason.
Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson.
Excited to get to New York tonight.
Will McDonald.
I'm fired up to add another dog. I can't wait to get that mullet here and pull apart.
Sauce Gardner's got
That's what we're doing. We're coming to get you.
Have you heard the German New York Minute? The Jets are on the clock, and they couldn't even wait.
neighbors.
This is the most talented Jets football team, certainly in my lifetime.
With an offseason that belongs in the Louvre, they've done it exactly right.
The Jets at 10, I still think are a very good team. You were drafting a absolute starter.
Dallas Turner,
they got players that fit their needs.
Even on the money.
Seats are high, and the expectations are high.
The 10th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select.
Am I on crack? I don't hear my voice here. Hold on. Is it beginning?
We are live. It is time to cover an NFL Draft.
The Jets at 10. Okay, so what are we doing at 10? You tell me.
Joe Douglas is like a dealer.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like my chain is getting pulled here. My chain is getting pulled, Jealous Beanbags. I do not see it. It's okay. We'll keep on to the chat. Let's see. It might be a different video. I wasn't on social media like a lot today. Belated congrats on the kid, Joe. Thank you, Mike. Yes, thank you for being the voice of reason. There's a lot of Fashanu as great pass protector, but how do you think he'll do opening complaints for Brees? I don't think we have to worry about it so much, right? So I think he has the necessary power to do it at an NFL level. I don't think it's a lack of power thing. You also have to consider that he's 21 years old. But in the run game right now, he's not good. We'll just to be honest. I'm not going to ever change my opinion because he's drafted by the Jets. In the run game, he struggled. So he's going to be raw there. But he's going to be super, super pro ready in pass protection, which again, it's more important that he passes, that he protects for Aaron Rodgers than it is that he runs up or opens up lanes for, a Breece Hall. So if I had to choose one or the other, Obviously it's the pass protection. Now, would I have liked a more well-rounded guy? Again, JC Latham, who went before him. Yeah. But I'm taking Fashanu over Fashanu. I'm taking him over Fuaga. I'm taking him over Mims. He was my third-rated guy, and you got him as a third-rated guy. So I can't be so disappointed. Again, I did wish they got a receiver, but we'll see how they pivot. If they pivot properly, then we're fine. What about bringing CD? Yeah, bring him back. Bring him back. Bring in Boyd. Bring in a receiver at 72. Bring in a receiver in the 4th round. That's what I'm about. Got a super chat from Ivan says, at some point, coaching needs to raise the wide receivers play. Yeah, like sure. But is that what we're relying on in terms of receiver position? Like, hey, we didn't get Marvin Harrison Jr. or Neighbors or Odunze, so we just got to rely on the receiver coach to coach up these guys. Like, no, listen, at the end of the day, Gibson, Brownlee, all these guys they're just Jags. Like, they're not really much of anything. So at this point right now, the Jets kind of have Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, and that's it. You could easily take 2 or 3 more receivers and be completely fine. Gibson shouldn't be guaranteed a roster spot on any roster. Neither should Brownlee. Lazard is obviously going to be here, so he's one of them. But the next 2 or 3 guys are completely undecided on the Jets right now. So what they have right now is not good enough. They need to bring in guys at the receiver position, whether that be trades, whether that be signing good free agents like Boyd, whether that be trading up into the 2nd round for guys like McConkey or maybe Brian Thomas Jr. in the next couple of picks for the Jets. I think that's the way to go. I'm not thrilled with the wide receiver position right now. Now, I think they've built amazing depth in multiple positions that are important to win at. Or important for winning, quarterback, great depth, great starter. Offensive line, great depth, great starters. Defensive line, great depth, great starters. Corners, great depth, great starters. So the Jets are building the right way. Again, the receiver position was about raising that ceiling. So I'm still awake. Brian, I think Fashanu will be fine because he can learn from Smith because Keith Carter is a trash online coach. Yeah, maybe a trade for T-Gans. I don't think it's going to happen. When Tyron Smith goes down in MetLife turf, we're going to be glad we got Olu. Let's just hope it doesn't happen at all, Jonathan Richter. Let's hope he doesn't go down at all. And it's just like a little maybe nick that he has during the week. And then Olu has to start like week 15 versus the Patriots, and we don't give a shit. But underwhelmed as well, but at least we didn't pick D-line. 3 4th round picks looks like trade NMO. Yeah, right. Mike, like at what point do you need just a bunch of backups, right? Because like 3 4th round picks, okay, you get a backup safety, you get a backup guard, you get a backup, I don't know, whatever it may be, a running back. Let's trade up for like a starting level receiver. There's some guys out there. Brian Thomas Jr.'s out there. Worthy's out there. McConkey's out there. Like there are guys out there. So I'm completely okay with Jets getting aggressive right now and trading up. Trade all 4th round picks. Trade all 3 of them. I don't give a shit. Trade them. Joe, considering how the board went, who would you have taken 11, assuming you couldn't trade up or trade down? It was Fashanu or it was Bowers. It was either one of those guys. I felt the same about both. Again, Bowers, I think, is the higher risk, higher reward type of move, while Olu is the lower risk, but raises the floor of the team. It's a good pick for the future. The Jets have really struggled in terms of addressing their offensive line, and they just got a guy who he's a good prospect. He is for sure. Okay. Fashanu is a slam dunk. The guy will provide great pass protection, and he is very young. Will improve as a run blocker. Yeah, he's 21 years old. Whatever it is. So, cheers again. Got to keeping the noons going. All right. 50 cal says not like it's going to happen. But what would it take cost to trade back into that 1st round? I don't know. Honestly, don't know. In terms of like the trade value chart, let's say. Trade value chart NFL. So we have pick what? The only problem is it's not updated, right? I don't know who's we got who's pick in the 4th round. We got the Vikings, right? So we have let's just say pick 32 is 590, right? So we have our 3rd round pick, which is 230. So we have to make up about 360, and we got, let's see, Minnesota's 4th round pick, right? So 78 points plus the Jets 2 is 39, and where's the other one? 39 and 72. So we got 81, 110, and then the Vikings 110. So 110, 188. We have 188. And then the third round pick is what? 2. Yeah, we can't get back into the first. We have to trade next year's pick as well to get back into the first round at this point. But second round pick, it's possible. We can get back into the mid to late second, I would say. Mid to late second. Let's see. Patrick says we need to trade into the second round to get a starting legit receiver. What do you think, Joe? I'm with you. Whether it be Boyd, whether it be trading up to get a guy right now, I think that's what you need to do. You don't want to. To me, you don't want to bring in like a bunch of like receiver 4s and then hope one of the receiver 4s is a receiver 3. Like, go up and get a guy right now. Why not? Boyd is a good 3. Boyd's a good slot, a very solid 3. And if you're to pair a solid 3 with another receiver in the third round, or mid or low second round, I think that's a good plan. I do. Next to Alt, Olu Fashanu was also the only true left. True left tackle, but I think Latham could play it as well. I guess I'm late, but I'm happy with the pick personally. Yeah, again, it's like a B minus pick to me. Rob Lee says, Joe, by the way, watching that video with Dom C and Samuel, it was like a Harvard class compared to some conversations I have on a daily basis. Yeah, it was a good conversation. Kyron Samuels, I believe his name is. He played college football and it was like an All-American for 4 years. So we have an All-American offensive lineman at the collegiate level. And then Dom brought on me and him to kind of debate and talk about the tackles. And Dom facilitated the chat. And Dom, he obviously he chimed in as well. But it was me and the guy talking about tackles. He had Olu as 1. I had Olu as a close 2. To Joe Alt, but I ended up putting Alt as my 2 over Olu. But there was a time where I was talking about it a couple of weeks ago on the podcast where I was like, hey, I think Olu Fashanu may be my number 2 over Alt. So good prospect. I don't love the position, but he's not a bad prospect. He's not a bad prospect. Let's see who the Lions select here. I want Ricky Pearsall. Yeah. What picks do the Jets have now with the trade back? What do we have? 72, 3/4, 2/5, 2/6. I don't know what it is. Let's see. Jets draft picks 2024. We have 49 minutes ago. Okay, they updated it. So the Jets now have. Son of a bitch. Like, you click on the link and it's like, oh, the Jets 2024 draft picks, what are they? And then okay, let's see. Ethan Greenberg. Did Ethan Greenberg tell us? Nope. Ethan Greenberg did not tell us. Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate you. Lions. Okay, so now the Jets have they have pick 72, a third round pick. They have pick 111, a fourth round pick. They have pick 129 from the Lions through the Vikings. We have pick 134 in the fourth round. We have a fifth round pick. We have a sixth and a seventh. So we have 3/4, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh. So I actually thought we had 2/5 maybe. So at this point, again, I am fine with packaging all fourth round picks to get up into the second. Honestly, if there's a world right now, and I'm not even sure exactly the trade capital for this, if you were to tell me that the Jets traded, pick 72, 111, 129, and 134, and they got a receiver, and you landed a stud backup tackle and a top of the second round receiver, I'm fine with it. I think people get attached to the picks, but if you can trade up right now for a good prospect, I'm okay with it. I am. All right. Joe, you were in the Flight 24 episode. Where? When? I watched it last night. I didn't notice my voice. Do I just not notice my voice because I don't listen to myself talk? Can somebody send me like time clip or like when this was? I didn't hear myself in the Flight 24. Interesting. OT is a good pick for what happened prior to us picking. If the Bears did draft Odunze, we would have gotten him. But we got a couple of picks. We're trading back one pick. Yeah, I'm okay. You're like, hey, you just picked up a 4th round pick and a 5th round pick for a 6th. Okay. Would I have traded up for Neighbors? Would I have traded up for Harrison Jr.? Would I have traded up for Odunze? I would have. But how do they pivot? They can pivot at this point. If they don't do anything at receiver, then I'm disappointed. Truly. Rich Soma said you were right about Latham. Tennessee snatched him up. It's weird because I was told that Latham is tackle 6. Guys like Connor Rogers. I got sent a tweet that he thought he was a 2nd round guy or whatever it was, or he was tackle 5 or 6. And he was tackle 2. So I saw on film. I don't get what people saw in him that made them like shy away from him. The fact that people said he couldn't move was inherently false. The fact that people said he had a bad game versus Michigan was inherently false. Latham was a good prospect, and there's a reason he went as tackle 2. I thought he could have went a tackle 1. The stakes yesterday on like all the draft websites or all the betting websites were that Latham was going to be tackle 1. I really hope he did go 1 so I could dunk like even harder. But tackle 2, I still think is a win for the brand for Blewett Blitz here. So I could be wrong, but it sounded like you. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay, Blewett. At least we got to see you eating chicken at the Ravens game. Yeah, I was like balls deep into that chicken fingers. It was like at that point it was like 27-6. I was like, I didn't give a shit. We were just ripping it. I'll be behind in the chat, but man, this is why I listened to you. The draft went almost exactly the way you saw it going once again. It was chalk, man. It was chalk. Again, I have Latham over Alt because Latham, in my opinion, has the higher ceiling. And even if you disagreed with me that Latham was one over Alt, at least he was tackle 2. Like I told people Latham was going to be that high. Again, not as high as Alt, but to me, he has a higher ceiling. So I would have personally taken Latham over Alt, but now that he went 7 and Alt went 5, am I still like a crazy asshole for it? I don't think so. Like I think I proved myself somewhat right, at least right. I think it's a dunk still. I do, Rich. And some people in here support Rich Sama as well. I think the fact that that Latham was OT2 in this draft is a dunk. What's your take on Giuseppe on our first pick? What's your take, Giuseppe? Come on our first pick. I'm happy with it. I think it's a floor raising move. I just need to see what they do at receiver. If it's just a receiver at 72, I'm not happy. I don't want Lazard as a receiver 4. So, or at least I don't want him as receiver 4. At least with a very solid contingency plan at 3. Would I be okay with Lazard at 4 if it was Harrison Jr., if it was Neighbors? Yeah, I could live with that. But when you start to lower the tier of prospect you get from Odunze or whoever it is, and you go to the Boyds, like Odunze is a legit receiver 2 to me. Boyd is receiver 3. The pick at 72 is a receiver 3. So I want like at least 2 receiver 3s right now, if not a receiver 3 and a receiver 4, because legitimately I think Lazard is a receiver 5. Right? Like it's not the best way to say it, I don't think, but the noons have flown, so I don't have enough. I don't have good wording of stuff right now. John said, love the trade terms. I'm glad they avoided Bowers. Tackle was the right move, but they got the wrong one, in my opinion. I just can't get on the consensus grade on Olu. Well, Olu was my 3, and they got him at 3. So I disagree in terms of who they have taken over, or who should they have taken over him. At the end of the day, like a lot of people, again, Fashanu was the hot name for this week. Or for this month, and a lot of people said, "Oh, take Fashanu at 10. Take Fashanu at 10." And I said for weeks, if they take Fashanu at 10, like I'm pretty disappointed. If they take Fuaga at 10, I'll be pretty disappointed. And both those guys went, not many picks later. I think Fashanu went like 19 or 20, and Fuaga went 14 to the Saints. So they picked the right guy in terms of the tackles. I would have understood Bowers. I would have. But I am glad that we don't have to deal with all the Bowers discourse on Twitter right now. So let's see. Jets were shocked with what they had to manage the last 2 years. Olu is a good pick, people. It is. It's a solid like double, right? Sneakers to boots. Again, it's not a home run. It's not getting new Ferrari. It's not getting, the brand new house, but it's replacing the roof, the hot water heater, the the paint inside. Like it's a good foundation building move. Now again, do you need to raise the ceiling to compete with the Chiefs of the world, the Ravens of the world? Yeah. But is Boyd a bad contingency plan? No. It's a trade up into the second round for a receiver, bad contingency plan? No. But I need to see that plan, come to fruition to really grade this. So don't do anything at receiver. I'm going to be critical. I will be, for sure. Okay, let's keep going down. Packers. Morgan. Okay. What jet pick is better, last 10 years or this year's 11th? What jet pick is better, last year's 10th or this year's 10th? Well, we were like, were we 10 last year and we traded on the 15? Or talking about like, would you rather have Will McDonald last year or Olu this year? I would probably take Olu over Will McDonald, last year. But with that being said, again, I would probably have rather traded down. So, bro is slow and absolutely needs to lose weight. Edge rushers are going to fly in Olu's ass and put him on his behind so fast. So, I would say Olu, if anything, in the pass game, like he can struggle with strength because he tends to be a little more passive with his hands and tends to catch guys as a pass protector. So he does have a tendency to get bull rushed a little bit, but in terms of like he needs to lose weight and doesn't move well, no. Like he has really good movement ability. He has really good lateral explosion. He has really good like redirective movement ability. He's explosive. He has power in certain situations when he uses his technique right. So in terms of like him being a bad athlete or anything like that, in terms of like he needs to lose weight and they're like flying his ass. Like needs to lose weight, Edwards are gonna fly into his ass, fly in on Olu's ass. Like he doesn't struggle with speed. He struggles more with power at this point. So bro is dead slow. Mekhi Becton 2 point. Olu was like 6'4", 320. What? He's like 50 pounds less, Dakota. I would relax. Yeah. Dakota, I would relax. You're a Bowers boy, I'm assuming. You're a Bowers boy. You joined the fan club on Twitter. Did that get dismantled yet or no? Are they still making posts about Joe Blewett and what Joe Blewett said in the Bowers boys on Twitter? Or did we give up on that? SRS boy says could still sign Tyler Boyd. Yeah, Tyler Boyd, like receiver in the third round. Okay. If it's not Tyler Boyd, at this point, it's either Tyler Boyd and receiver in the third round or a trade up into the second round for a receiver. That's where I'm at. Olu isn't a finished product. He's 20 years old. Yeah, no, for sure. Who are your favorite day 2 wide receivers, Matt? You know I'm not going to really answer this. Wilson, McConkey, Leggett, Franklin. Yeah, all of them. Sure. Sweet. I'm not the biggest like draft nerd in terms of that stuff. Joe, you're money. Joe, you're an original. Never change. OT is good. Yeah, no, it's fine, dude. It's fine. Do I think that the board in the top 9 went the worst possible way it could for the Jets, which I pretty much predicted? Like it was pretty chalk. The fact that Odunze went, the fact that Neighbors went, the fact that Harrison Jr. went, the fact that Alt went, the fact that Latham went. It was the worst possible case scenario for the Jets. It was. Now, minus maybe another quarterback going or something like that. Maybe if JJ McCarthy was traded up for by the Vikings earlier and Olu or Bowers went, yeah, it would even be a worse, even a worse case scenario or a worst case scenario. But it was a bad top 9. It was a bad top 9. We got what we could. It's a B- pick. It's a B- pick. How do you pivot? Who do you want if we draft a wide receiver in the third? I don't know. Let's see. Is there like a available players tracker that everybody knows of? Because I don't really know the receivers' names. Again, I'm just gonna say somebody. Pearsall. I really like Pearsall. I really like this other guy. I don't know. I want them to trade up and get whoever it is that they have the most confidence in, and at that point, I will look into them, like in terms of getting into their film. So I like McConkey, even if I prefer tall receiver, tough as hell. Yeah, yak guy, right? Yeah, Guy, was there anything surprising in the first round? Let's see. So we have it was all pretty chalk, right? Like there wasn't anything that was wild. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. I kind of like Drake May more than Jaden Daniels, but nonetheless, he went 3. Marvin Harrison Jr. We expected that. Joe Alt 5. I was hoping for Latham there for the brand, but still, Giants went Neighbors. Neighbors is interesting to the Giants just because I'm pretty sure he was kind of criticizing their quarterback, and he said something to the effect of like, "Hey, if they draft me, they have to figure out who their quarterback is." So Neighbors did seem like maybe a little bit of like that diva receiver, JC Latham 7, okay, Penix Jr. 8. That was a big surprise. Romo Dunze 9, which was unfortunate. We were hoping that they took any type of defender there. Then obviously the Jets are on the clock at 10. They trade back. At that point, it's going to be JJ McCarthy. You swap a fourth you swap their fourth and a fifth for your sixth. Okay, fine. They traded up into the fifth round. I got a fourth round pick for to trade back one pick to get Olu. Again, I preferred Olu or Brock Bowers in a trade down. Would I have preferred it in a trade down maybe to 13, 14, 15 for Olu? Yeah, sure. But, instead of a second round pick, or no, not a second round pick, a third round pick, they got a fourth and a fifth with a 6 being traded for it. I'm fine with it. I think it's a B- pick in terms of the prospect, but you add the fact that we got another fourth round pick, and can you again parlay that and taking up into the third round, or not into the third round, from the third round into the second round with one of those picks, then it kind of changes the situation here. So Olu, Brock Bowers 13, Fuaga 14, Latu 15, Byron Murphy 16. Not a surprise. Dallas Turner. Being the second D-end off the board, not super surprising. You people expected Latu and Turner to be the first 2, and Verse, those are the top 3 guys. Fashanu at 20, Chop Robinson, okay. Mitchell, 22 Eagles, Brian Thomas Jr. did go. Okay, Jaguars. So they have Brian Thomas Jr. Do they still have they have Gabe Davis now, right? Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., and who is their number 1? Kirk, I guess, right? Arnold went to the Lions. We have Jordan Morgan. Bucks pick is in. Let's see it. Graham Barton, like he's like an interior defense or interior offensive lineman, like hybrid, right? Center and guard, whatever it may be. What's the wide receiver pick if we move into the second round? I don't know. McConkey. We'll say McConkey. Matt Houston. Fashanu reminds me so much of DeBrickashaw. We got the best up tackle in the draft, in my opinion. I'm glad JD wasn't actually branded enough to consider Fuaga. Yeah, Fuaga is a guard who could maybe play tackle, in my opinion. I do think he's a guard at the next level. But in terms of him reminding you of DeBrickashaw, I think it's kind of a perfect comparison because even my problem with DeBrickashaw Ferguson when he was a Jet was he wasn't the nastiest guy. He didn't dominate guys. The run game, he was just okay. I think Fashanu was me a guy. I don't think he's ever going to be dominant in the run game. But if you can get a guy who is an elite pass protector, and then work him up to even average in the run game, if you get elite pass protection and average run game, you're talking about a really, really solid left tackle. So if that's what Olu is going to be, then I'm okay with that. DeBrickashaw Ferguson, in my opinion, was not Joe Thomas. He's not Andrew Whitworth. He's not Trent Williams. He's not Tyron Smith. In my opinion, he was never like a top 3 to 5 guy, maybe 5, but he was never the best tackle. He was never the top 3 tackle. He might not even been a top 5 left tackle at any point, but he was always top 10, very consistent, very, elite pass protector, but, lacked a little bit in the run game, lacked a little nasty. And Fashanu is the same deal, Matt. So I think that the comparison from Olu to DeBrickashaw Ferguson in terms of their play style, their mindset is it's very on par. It is. Let's see, Cardinals pick. Corey Davis would be a fun receiver 3. Get Corey Davis and like a receiver at 72 when we're stacked. D tackle. D end? No. Fashanu starts 5 to 6 games with via injury and spells old guys in the fourth quarter with 2 star leads. Yeah. All of those games we blow people out, in the fourth quarter, Rich. Yeah. Ton of them. He's gonna come in at least 6 or 7 games where we're blowing guys out. Quality insurance for our pick for our older tackles. Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter. Let me see if I have it on my notes. I have it somewhere. Oh, but you have Damian Woody, right, who comes out and initially says that Carter, I'm an idiot for not considering Carter Warner a starter in 2024, and then backtracks a couple of weeks later or months later and says that basically the Jets need to draft a backup offensive tackle. They don't have a backup offensive tackle. So he went from saying that Mitchell should be considered maybe a starter to saying that he's not even a backup or considerable backup for the Jets. And then he basically put out a tweet last week or this week about how much Penny Sewell got paid. How much Penny Sewell got paid by the Cardinals, or no, by the Lions. And he's like, oh, look at Penny Sewell's contract versus that he got from the Lions. Like, this proves that offensive tackles are like basically more important than receivers or weapons. He was kind of indicating, because he's been on Twitter all week indicating that the Jets should take offensive tackle and not a receiver. So he's talking about, look at the price and all this stuff, and it kind of proves my point that offensive tackles are important because they get paid more than receivers. But when you actually look at it, and this was something that I think Buffalo Jets fan tweeted me. I think I screenshotted it. If not, I'm looking at an asshole because So Buffalo Jets fan then follows up to me and says, players making $20 million plus a year, like per year in their contract. Receivers 18, defensive linemen 15, offensive linemen 11. So there are 11 offensive linemen in the NFL making more than $20 million. While there are 18 wide receivers, and you have, Damian Woody coming out there and saying like, oh, look at this Penny Sewell contract. Like it's such a huge contract. This is a proof that the Jets should take an offensive tackle at 10 or 11 or, wherever the Jets actually ended up, which are obviously 11. And we took Fashanu. So, credit there. We did take an offensive tackle, but saying that he got paid and that's proof that tackle's more valuable than receiver is just inherently false. Receivers are getting paid more in today's NFL. You have AJ Brown just got a 3-year, $96 million deal, $32 million a year. So if anything, in terms of the capital it takes to retain a top level receiver versus offensive lineman, receiver's more valuable. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who just got, whatever it was, a similar price to a Penny Sewell. Penny Sewell, in my opinion, is a better tackle than Amon-Ra St. Brown as a receiver. So poor point by everybody's boy, Damian Woody. So, he consistently puts his foot in his mouth, so past that, Zach was traded this week. Obviously, you clear $2.75 million of cap space. That can sign you Donovan Smith. That can sign you Connor McGovern. That can sign you a backup running back. And the fact that you traded up from 256 to 203, I believe, and that 203 then went to the Vikings. And we got their 4th and 5th back, right, for a trade down for one spot. So yeah, Zach is gone, thank God, right? John says, I was viciously criticized by Packers fans for mocking Morgan to them 3 months ago. Well, there you go. We were 16-4 last year. What does that mean? What does that mean?
What the hell is even that?
I do not know. I'm going to need to crack another nooner soon. Yep, there we go. Cheers. All right. Chiefs pick 28. SRS boy, how would you rank Brandon Rice, Roman Wilson, and Mekhi Corley? With absolutely no knowledge of any of the three, SRS boy, I'm going to say based, again, probably I have 5% of the information on these guys. I would say probably Roman Wilson, Corley, and then Rice. I was not impressed by anything I saw of Rice in the Senior Bowl. All of those plays that were tweeted out of him, I was not impressed. So I'd probably say Wilson, Corley, Rice, or Corley, Wilson, Rice, but definitely Rice 3. I don't pretend to know anything about anyone past the first, but Green Bean will die and the McConkey kill, so I'm here for it. Yeah, I think Wayne Corbett also said that McConkey was like his favorite receiver in the draft. So if the Jets were to trade up into the second round for a legit receiver, like, okay, you can get really good receivers in the second round. And I know people will be like, oh, well, this guy sucked for the Jets and he requested a trade or whatever, but Elijah Moore was a really good prospect, in a second. So like you can get guys who are legitimate receiver threes right now. At least as the past has shown. I'm not going to say that I've watched, Wilson or McConkey or whoever it is, but over the past couple of years, you're definitely able to get a stud receiver in the second or third round. So again, one of those fourth round picks right now, like package it, move up, 72 and 111, 72, 111 and 130, whatever it is, or 140, whatever it is, trade up and get your next guy. Sign Boyd. The last contract we heard of Boyd getting was offered was a 2-year, $10 million deal, $5 million a year. Restructure JFM, extend Reed, sign Boyd. There are moves to be made at receiver right now. That's really what we're waiting for, because if they are to pivot and trade for a receiver, then I'm not so down on the Olu pick. If it's a situation where they don't really address the receiver position, then I will be disappointed. But it's a thing where we have the rest of the draft. We have rounds 2, 3, 4. The trade market. We have the rest of the offseason. So it depends on how they pivot. Okay, let's see. Bucks up Barton. Yep. Dakota, please stop. Lad's not going round 1. Fuaga closer to Becton than Olu. Yeah. Matt, like if you had to tell me who is the closer prospect to Becton in terms of how they play, it's Fuaga over Olu. I agree with you. Did Mike Williams die? No, it's not that Mike Williams died or anything like that. And I think I said it before. It's like you have Garrett Wilson, you have Mike Williams, and then past that, receiver 3, 4, 5, 6 are complete unknowns to Jags. Mike Williams is injured. Apparently he's gonna be ready for week 1, but you don't know. What if he takes 2, 3, 4 weeks to come back? What if he takes 5, 6, 7 weeks to even be back to the player that he was? What if he gets another injury? So a lot of people talk about the depth in the offensive line in terms of like, hey, we don't have a lot of depth there, but at receiver, it's the same thing. We have 2 guys right now. We have 2 guys I'm comfortable with. I don't think Gibson is anything to write home about, at least right now. I don't think Brownlee is anything to write home about. I don't think Lazard is anything to write home about. So we need a 3. We need a 3. Ricky Pierce still round 2. Okay. Tyler Boyd and Tez Walker. Sure. Sign me up. Joe, sorry if this has been asked before, but I'm late. Do you think we trade back into the second round? I think second round. Yes. Eli, I do. Mid second round, late second round. I think the Jets do trade up. You have 3/4. Why? For what reason? To get receiver 5, tackle 4, running back 2. Like I don't know. At this point, I would trade up. Olu's going to learn from a top offensive tackle. We can't complain now. So happy with the pick. Okay. Phenom, the best team for all Olu was the New York Jets because he gets, it's a good point, Stu, because he's a raw guy in terms of the run game. He's young, 21 years old, and you're a young tackle who's coming to learn from a Tyron Smith. Yeah. Very ideal. Very ideal. You're completely right. There's not really a better spot you can go to, because like the Titans and all that stuff, like, yeah, you could have started right away, but in terms of like the best team for your future outlook, it's the Jets. Morgan Moses, Tyron Smith. My thing is like it's at this point though, Fashanu like has to be tackled year 2, right? Like you're not going to sign. Let's say that it all works out this year, whatever happens, you re-sign Morgan Moses and Smith. Does that happen with Olu as a 2? Is Olu a right tackle? Is Tyron Smith definitely guaranteed only 1 year because Olu's here? Interesting questions to ask. How were right you were Latham?
What the hell is even that?
I think you're saying how right were you on Latham? Something like that. Yes, I was. I take some pride in that Latham thing because a lot of people said like tackle 2, you're an idiot. Again, tackle 3, tackle 4, tackle 5. This analyst doesn't have him until late round 1. This analyst doesn't have him until late round 2. Tackle 2. Not as high as I said. I said tackle 1. He was tackle 2. Okay. Fine. But my top 3 tackles went top 3. alt Latham Fashanu. Went alt Latham Fashanu. Xavier Worthy to the fucking Chiefs, dude. Speed. Wow. A 4.21, the fastest receiver to ever come out. Can the Jets trade up right now for Brian Thomas? Or no, Brian Thomas went. Damn. I do want the Jets to get a receiver, though, for sure. By the way, we will be live tomorrow, taking live calls. We might do it tonight. Like, I might just say fuck it and do it tonight, but we're going to see where this goes. I don't know if I want to, like, take live calls while, like, a few brews deep. I don't know. You guys tell me. We want live calls? You tell me. Oh, also, something else that I want to do on like on a chat. Unfortunately, I used to work day shift and now I got moved to 4 to 12. So I will be working 4 to 12s coming up. My schedule rotates every week where I don't have a consistent schedule. It's not Monday through Friday, 4 to 12. It's not, Tuesday to Saturday. It's not anything like that. My schedule rotates a lot. So I wanted to ask you guys as listeners to the show, would you rather have me do a set day, like a Friday, a Saturday, or a Sunday at like, let's say noon? Would you rather have me do a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday at noon set, or rotate on my days off and have like a 6 o'clock show on a random Tuesday and then a Thursday and then a Friday? Again, unfortunately, I got moved to 4 to 12 and I cannot have a 6 to 8 Friday show every single Friday. So it's either I have a noon show on weekends or I rotate my days off, like 6 to 8 o'clock. So you guys got to let me know because unfortunately, again, I don't have an 8 to 4, 9 to 5 job. I got moved, so I got to figure it out. I just don't know what you guys want. So let's see. Calvin Ridley. Oh. Okay, let's see. Joe and I are both crushing high noons and podcasting. JetX is a good place. I don't know. Like I also think that Ben, you said that you were going to have a podcast the week after I podcast with you guys, and you still skipped another podcast. So it's just the thing. Like you're very inconsistent. I don't know. Joe let Michael and I crash your stream. I could. You guys want to crash my stream? Fine, do it. Ben, if you're still in here, let me know. I'll send you guys a link. I will put out the link for you guys, or I'll send it to you on Slack. Ben, let me know if you're still in here. I will let you guys easily. I'll let you guys easily crash the stream. I'm going to guess that Woody's take about Warren was before he watched the film. Many Jets fans were initially pleasantly surprised by Warren because they didn't watch the film. So you just fucking lied? Like you just lied and decided to dunk on people on Twitter? I don't know. Let's see. DLB1 Jets Arms says, so glad I wasn't Bowers was rooting for Latham, though. Latham shot up the boards quite a bit, right? I thought he was so bad. I did. But $50 super chat, though. I appreciate you, DLB. I am glad it wasn't Bowers for the just for the main like point that we're not going to argue him for the next 10 years. It would have been a 10-year argument with Bowers. 10-year argument. Cowboys 29. Let's see. Going down the chat. Let me know if you're here, Ben. Ben Nania. You let me know. Joseph Patterson, haven't seen you in a little bit. Joe has the worst track record for drafting offensive linemen. Joe, you know that's true. Yeah, but like at the end of the day, ABT was a good pick. Like he's been an unfortunate victim of circumstance just in terms of the offense, like in terms of injuries. But ABT, the process was never bad with ABT. I like ABT. I like Cam Clark. Becton, I won't kill him. I would have preferred Wirfs over Becton, but the only picks I blame him for is Warren and Carter in the 4th round. That's what I don't like. What's the likelihood of the Jets drafting a safety or a running back? I would say like 1,000%. They drafted one of them. Didn't think the Chargers would take Joe Alt. I guess he a play right tackle for them. Yeah. Let's see. Hit the like. Joe has solid info. Again, I was really hoping that Latham would go 1 because like that would have really, I think that would have done a lot for the brand. I think Latham at 2 does something for the brand. Ben won't. They're going to be a run on wide receivers. Let me see. I'll message the fellas. See if they want to come on. Nania? At least Nania? Ben, I don't know. Ben's. I'm indifferent to Ben. Nania, we want him. He's on Slack. Coming on? Question mark. Nania, let's see. People want Nania. He can jump on. Again, Ben still owes me an apology on his podcast, so I don't think I can bring Ben on. Let's see. I'll share the. I'm gonna share the link. And then after this, I have to go watch some actual Olu 2022 tape. Slack, launch it. Nothing from Nania. Sad. It's a sad world we live in. Sent it. Let's see. All right. There's gonna be wide receivers. Ben won't. If only Clan Clark was healthy. There's gonna be a run on receivers in the second round. Yes, I agree. So that's fair. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what happens in the draft. I think I was waiting for call-ins tomorrow, right? Call-ins tomorrow. I come in at like 7:00 ish. We'll talk about the first round. By that point, by 7:00 tomorrow, I'm probably. I think Olu Fashanu only played 8 games in 2022, so I should have at least half of his 2022 season done as well tomorrow. So you'll get some more highlights of Olu and all that stuff. Okay. Cam Clark was healthy. Let's see, man, maybe. Okay. Let's see. Ravens pick. Pick is in. I still can't believe the TV I specifically bought for this reason is not working in this very moment. Not a shock. Mm-hmm. See, one thing I mean is fair. Does anyone know if Fashanu can play right tackle if Moses goes down? The thing about like playing right tackle and left tackle in your year one is you've heard a lot of tackles say that it's for some it's more difficult than others. I don't know if Fashanu played right tackle at Penn State at all. I think he was pretty strictly left tackle this year and the last. So even in high school, I think he played left tackle. So I don't think it's a thing where he can't play right tackle. But do you want to cross train your rookie offensive tackle in year one? You know, it's not as easy. It's easier said than done, in my opinion. Ravens selection, let's say. Nate Wiggins, okay, yeah. Justin Herbert doesn't have any receivers to throw to. Yeah, I think he's like tight end one last year. Even it was like Gerald Everett. They lost. It's Quentin Johnson right now. Stanley, Quentin Johnson, no Keenan Allen, no Mike Williams. You have Joe Alt as your tackle with Rashawn Slater. Yeah, not the best. Not the best. Does Quentin Johnson step as a receiver one for the Chargers? Probably not. All right, he wasn't super impressive in his rookie year, so I would say no. I'm really interested to see how Neighbors works out with the Giants, because if I was the Giants, yes, I would have picked him, but he seems to be a little bit of diva already. And they have who at quarterback. So I'd be a little bit concerned about that if I was a Giants fan. Like, he clearly seems like a diva receiver. So we're at pick 131 right now with the Niners. Then we'll probably head off. We did a quick stream, and then we'll head back on tomorrow. We'll do a call in, and then we'll do a live watch party. SRS Boy says they'll have one. They'll have to take one at 37. the Jets don't have a shot at any of those guys anyway. At 37, you're talking about who's at 37? The Chargers, right? Yeah, but still. A round 2 receiver, a bust as of right now in the first round last year. The Chargers aren't set up for success this year, which is why I thought they would trade back. Did they have offers? I don't know. Did the Jets offer the Chargers for 5 and they couldn't trade up because they wanted Alt? And they tried to get Neighbors. I don't know. Did they try to get up for Odunze, but the Falcons wanted Penix? I don't know. Charge situation. Did we already talk about Drake May? No. We're talking about in terms of like going 3 and behind AJ and Daniels. No. Did not talk about it. Let's see. Ben say you want to come on the show. Don't see them on here. Don't see it. Joe, would you be upset if New York Jets traded for a D tackle? Like who? Because Brian Murphy's already gone, right? Who is the second best D tackle right now? Stu. I know it's like Chris Jenkins is one of them, but I saw him available in the late second, even early third. I don't see any defensive tackles that are like really, really available or really worth the trade up for right now. I'm sure the receivers, again, McConkey, whoever it may be, who are probably worth trade ups at this point, but I'm not going to say a D tackle. So they trade up for a D tackle. I don't think so. I think they should trade up for a receiver. Yes. Guess you want to run the ball. Drake May looks like a project. Who is his left tackle, Connor McDermott? I'm talking about Drake May in terms of him on the Pats. I am hoping. So the Jets played what? They played in the last couple of years, we played on the road week 1 in Carolina. We played week 1 on the road in, what was our most recent? We played the Bills and the Ravens the last 2 weeks, right? Yeah, Bills, Ravens. But before that was Carolina and I forget maybe another away team. So I do think the Jets will be most likely away this year. Who, to me, especially if you're going to play away, like I don't give a shit if it's a night game, whatever it may be. If it's an away game week 1, like give us the Pats week 1. There's a lot of shit on the Pats, and not have to worry about coming home 0-1 and all that stuff. So let's see. People sleeping on Mike Williams. ACL tear was in week 3. He'll be 10 months post. I don't think people are sleeping on Mike Williams. I don't think that's what it's about. I think Mike Williams is a very solid receiver too. When Mike Williams is healthy, he's one of the better receiver 2s in the NFL. The problem is he's missed some games in the last couple of years, even before the ACL. Now he has an ACL. So even if he's ready for week 1, is he ready week 6, 8, 12, 14? I don't know. Like you're assuming that Michael Williams is going to miss 2, 3, 4 games this year. And if he does miss, 2, 3, 4 games this year, then as of right now, Alan Lazard is your receiver too. And that's not good enough. It's just not good enough. Gavin said, hey, Joe. I think is this like Gavin, the guy, the Rangers fan who I thought was going to jump me on the train, Gavin. Hope you're good, my guy. Hopping on late. Did you catch Belichick and Rodgers giving each other their flowers on McAfee? Shit was really cool. No, I did not. I'm still waiting for somebody to send me whatever Jets clip I was in. Like legitimately, can somebody send that to me? I was in. Was it One Jets Drive yesterday? Was it a draft pump up video today? Please send it to me because I don't know what people are talking about. I don't feel like watching the whole One Jets Drive to figure that out. I might just watch on Twitter. Can I find it on Twitter? A Jets pump up video today. That's what I was talking about. Or that's what I was told. Hey Joe, a Jets pump up video today had you in it, but I don't see it. You ready? That's what it'd be, right? Let's see. New York Jets. Yeah. Right? I don't know. I think you guys are fucked up. I don't think you're right. I honestly don't, because I think I'd recognize my own voice. I don't know. Whatever. We'll never know. We will never know. Let's see.
listeners making his way to the stage for the penultimate time tonight. The Bills are already on the clock for 2.5 minutes here. Again, the Chiefs traded up moments ago to take Xavier Worthy, the latest wide receiver taken, fastest man in the history of the combine. And the Bills will choose last, but before that, we hear the 49ers pick. With the 31st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Ricky Pearsall.
Ricky Pearsall. Wow. Wild.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall is coming off of a great year, and somebody who also went to the Senior Bowl and showed up down there. Charles and I saw him down there. Michael Gallup was my comparison throughout college, and one of the things when you watch him.
All right, might have Cooler Jets coming on. We'll see. We will see. I'll delay a couple minutes, but that's about it. What are your thoughts on the Jets if they were going to target Keon Coleman in the second round? Again, I don't have I don't have like any outstanding opinions where it's going to be like very hot or cold here. Go Jets! But with that being said, Keon Coleman in from what I saw a couple of months ago, he was like he was tight end or not tight end. He was receiver 3 or 4 just a couple of months ago. It was him over Odunze, and then it was Odunze over him, and then it was Worthy over him, and then it was Brian Thomas Jr. over him. But in February, Keon Coleman was receiver 3. So if you're to grab a receiver 3 in the second round, okay, yeah, I'm completely fine with that. So, you know, I'm okay with it in the second round for sure. Did the next lost, right? I was gonna say next lost. What are your thoughts on if the Jets were to target Keon Coleman second round? Yeah, I'm okay with it. Rome would have been so good. Yes. I thought the guy saying you are drafting an absolute starter was you. Jealous me back. You have to send me that clip because I don't know. I feel like that's not a word. I wouldn't say that. Like you're drafting an absolute starter. That sounded like somebody else. Maybe I don't know. Took my guy. No one is beating the Chiefs. Hollywood Worthy. No one is beating the Chiefs. Hollywood Worthy and Rice when he got the suspension. Yeah, like. I think you're more so giving respect to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce than you are individually. If I told you remove the Chiefs and I said, hey, this receiver group that you're going to play today is Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Brandon Rice, you're like, okay, like fucking sign me up. That's probably a bottom 10 unit in the NFL. Realistically, it's a bottom 10 unit in the NFL. You have Hollywood, who's a receiver 2 at best, maybe receiver 3 in a good team. You have Worthy, who's a UDFA, and you have Rice, who was okay as a rookie. Like I'm not scared of the Chiefs receiver corps. I'm scared of Patrick Mahomes. I'm afraid of, Reed. I'm afraid of Kelce, but am I afraid of Hollywood Brown? No. Bills traded back again. Did they? Who's up now? Let's see. Panthers for the last pick, and then we're on to tomorrow. Problem with Coleman is that people actually sat down with the tape from this year and realized he's nowhere near as good as the top of the class. It's weird though, right? Because like, at what point do people kind of watch though, right, John? Because it was Latham OT6, OT6, OT5, OT4. Then like, did people sit down the last 2 days and now he was OT2? Like, why did people come up so high on Latham all of a sudden? Did you just watch now, or are people just hearing or saying what they hear? Again, it's my problem with a lot of these mock drafts. If I were to tell you that a month or two ago that Latham was OT2, I think a lot of you say I'm fucking crazy. And in general, I said that Latham was OT1, if not OT1, OT2. Again, I was told I was crazy. Now he is. So what do we do here? I don't know. Chiefs could roll Nania and Blewett out there at receiver, and they could still. Yeah, exactly. I don't necessarily appreciate that. I would say I'm a much higher level receiver than Nania. The fact that you're, kind of placing me into the same bucket as Nania is extremely disrespectful, but it's fine. Yeah. Blewett receiver 1 and Nania receiver 5. Yeah, it's fine. McConaughey and Eddie and what is it? Adanian Mitchell weren't picked. Okay. Odunze was right there for us to trade, and we didn't. There's no reason that the Falcons wouldn't have traded with us if they wanted Penix. Yeah, but at the same point, NC, if they wanted Penix and they want a receiver or wanted a quarterback, a lot of teams don't fuck around in the first round. Like if you want your receiver, you stay there for your receiver. And I'm sure they picked him at 8 because at the end of the day, if they didn't pick him at 8, maybe they were afraid that the Vikings would have traded up to 10 for him at the Jets pick. So, I'm not going to say that they could have got him like regardless, because what if the Vikings traded up at that point? What if the Vikings traded up with the Bears, and then you're screwed. So I understand the Falcons just sticking and picking at that point. Like I'm not going to say that the Jets could have definitely traded up at that point, because I think that's not the truth. I'm worried the Bills are stockpiling picks to trade for Ayuk. The problem is with that, Rivka, is how much money do they have for Ayuk? Do they have $25-30 million a year right now to sign him? I don't think so. The Bills don't have a lot of money. Didn't Nania blow out his ankle running routes? He did blow out his ankle. He definitely got jammed, though. That's for sure. Let's see. Last pick of the first round. Nobody Falcons were trading. If you want a quarterback, you stick and pick every single time. Exactly. The edge of the first half of college season, the mocks are always based on summer scouting and Twitter echo chamber. Panthers select who? Xavier Leggett. Okay. The big time yak guy, right? Let's see. So you guys decide right now. We have a situation where transparently it's either I go right now or I wait 10 to 15 minutes and then you have Nania and potentially Ben Blessington join, and then we talk about the picks a little bit with them. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If I can drag this out another 10 to 15 minutes, then we'll do it. But it feels like tonight's like a little bit like lukewarm, right? Like people, I think Bowers would have been a pick where like people are freaking out a little bit. We're going over some Bowers film. I feel like if it was a Odunze, okay, people are freaking out a little bit in terms of happiness. Like, hey, we got one of the big 3 receivers. Neighbors was my absolute dream. Didn't happen, obviously. So it was like a very lukewarm pick, very lukewarm. So I don't know how you guys are feeling. Be curious to see if Joe made an offer to Atlanta. Can the Bills forward to Ayuk? I don't think so, Hawk. Right? That's what I was saying. Like people are saying, hey, maybe the Bills at this point they're stockpiling picks. Can they trade for Ayuk? But they just got rid of Poyer and Hyde and Tremaine Edmonds and Mitch Morse and Stephon Diggs. Like, can they now transition into offering a massive contract? You're talking about, equivalent of a first round pick plus and a $30 million contract to a receiver, 25, 26, 27, 28, $30 million, whatever it's going to be to a receiver when you previously had to get rid of so many guys because you didn't have the cap, the cap space to re-sign them. So I don't think so at this point. Like, I think the Bills kind of have to reset and like build smartly the next like year or two. Do I think that the Bills offering Ayuk really changes their trajectory for this year? Maybe a little, but I don't see them as like some powerhouse team, even with Ayuk. I don't know. Yeah, no, they don't have the space. I don't think so either, right? I just don't understand the Falcons' thought process at Penix. Yeah, especially after signing Kirk Cousins, like a 2-year contract. Yikes. I don't know. It's a rough one. Let's see. Yeah, round 1 is over. All right, I'm gonna end it. I'll call it. We have tomorrow. I'm going to jump on with Jake Aspin at some point. I'm going to jump on tomorrow at like 7:30 for a live watch along for the round 2 of the NFL draft. And then we'll do call-ins tomorrow night as well. So call-ins tomorrow night, Jake Aspin as well. Quick hour and a half on the stream tonight. We will see you tomorrow. Adios.